So, Scott, thank you so much for coming out today. So first of all, I thought we could just get a few introductions, who you are, what you do, and again, thank you for coming on our very first podcast.
No, well, thanks for having us along. My name's Scott and I am an outreach officer with Home Energy Scotland.
Brilliant.
Home Energy Scotland is a service that's fully funded by the Scottish Government and it's managed by the Energy Savings Trust. We help people in Scotland create warmer homes, help them reduce their energy costs and obviously help them lower their carbon footprint.
Brilliant. That sounds fun. So obviously there's been a lot of chat about energy increases and that's why we've invited you along today. But before I get into like the serious questions, I thought I've got some quick fire questions for you, so don't think too long about the answers.
Okay, I'll try not to.
So the first one is salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Salt and vinegar.
Favourite genre of music?
Love trance.
Trance, that's brilliant. I love trance as well, that's great. Cats or dogs?
I like animals. I like both of them, but I like cats. I like cats because they're kind of, if they want attention, they'll come to you.
They'll come to you. I've got 2 cats, so that was good. That's a great answer. Obviously, we love dogs as well.
Yeah, we love dogs.
Sweet or savoury food?
Sweet.
Nice. iOS or Android? For your phone, Apple or Android?
Android.
Android. And going out for a meal or ordering in?
Ordering in.
And what would be your meal to order in? What do you like?
I like Indian food.
Nice,
I
nice.
like
Brilliant. So that was just to kind of ease us into the chat. So obviously we know there's going to be price increases coming in on the 1st of April, and Ofgem have announced a 54% increase to household annual bills. So I'm just looking for a wee bit of information on why this has happened and what it means for people.
Sure. The increase itself is driven by a record rise in the wholesale price of gas. The Ofgem introduced the price cap at the beginning of January 2019, and that was to protect customers who were on standard energy tariffs. The price cap itself also applies to standing charges. The price cap won't actually cap your bill. Obviously, if you use more energy, then you're going to pay more. But it's there as a protection that energy companies can't increase their rates. There is that cap, that's why it's called the cap. So there's only so much that they can actually increase those
charges. And so why has that then changed now? Why has it gone up, or is that just?
Well, there's obviously, as I said, there's the wholesale price of gas over the last six months plus has skyrocketed. So it's record rises.
Yeah. So this is across the board. It's
across
not just
board,
us. It's other places are seeing this as well.
And when you think about some energy companies went out of business, I think to the end of December, I think something like 28 companies went out of business. The reason that was is that that wholesale price of gas, because it was so high, they couldn't really afford to maintain that supply to their customers.
Right. Okay. So that's what it is. So I suppose then my next question is, in order to almost combat this, the government have announced a £200 repayable discount. So are you able to tell us a wee bit of information about this and how this will work?
The government, or UK government, announced this one-off repayable discount of £200. That will be credited to energy accounts in the autumn, October. It will be repaid starting in 2023. That will be paid over a 5-year period. So that's the help that they announced.
And so will that just be like credited to if you have a direct debit, or just be debited to your account, so that money's there to use up in the meantime?
Yes, if that should be credited to your I think it's the electricity account.
Right. Okay.
So that won't matter if you're on direct debit or a prepayment, your energy company will make contact with you and tell you how they're going to credit that to your account.
Well, that was actually my next question. It was for people on prepayment meters, like is it just the same information then? They'll just like credit that. Yeah.
What do you think? You got to realise though is that the average cost of direct debit and prepayments are going to rise quite significantly. Now the price cap come the 1st of April will come into force, but then again in October, the likelihood is that it will increase again in October. Average prepayment customer will see theirs rise £708. So the average from £1,309 to just over £2,100.
It's a lot of money.
It is, yeah. But like I said, the price cap doesn't limit how much your bill's going to be.
So if you're still using the same amount, you're going to be.
If you're using more energy, then obviously your bills are going to be higher.
And that, I suppose, people for paying direct debit, do you have a kind of average of, say a 2-bedroom flat? Would you know, like on average, how much? That
the figures that's just quoted there is average for prepayment customers. But as I said, because the price cap doesn't limit your bill,
just depends on how often you're in, that kind of thing, what you're using.
If you're using more, you're going to pay more.
Yeah, of course. So I suppose a lot of people are also on fixed tariffs. Some of them might be due to run out. So should people try and find another fixed deal, or should they stick with what they're on just now?
It all depends on when the fixed tariff runs out, really, and how the new fixed deal compares to the current one. As I mentioned, the price cap will increase from 1st of April, and the likelihood again on October. So someone might prefer to actually fix now rather than wait until that increase in October. But what we would suggest is that people pay attention to the terms and conditions of the new deal that they move on to. We would also suggest that they seek assistance from an impartial organisation, for example, Citizens Advice in an impartial organisation. They can help with that switching. They can also give ourselves a call at Home Energy Scotland. We have trained advisors on the telephone who can talk them through, provide that advice. Although we don't do any switching work for them, we can signpost them if it need be.
That's great.
But there is other advice that our advisors can provide over the telephone, from how they can look to start reducing their energy costs, other help that's available.
That's good to know. I mean, I might have to do that myself, because it's understanding all the terminology and things like that. A question about fixed: if you did decide to fix just now, and then say in a year and a half's time, wholesale prices came down, you're then stuck paying. Is that right?
Yeah. So like I said, if someone was looking to maybe fix now before any other increase, say for example in October, they should check the terms and conditions. What exit fees are there, if any, and how much are they? But as I said, impartial organisations like Citizens Advice can basically help you with that.
I know, it's just on the off chance, I'm thinking, are they going to come down next year? Is that something that's going to happen? We don't know.
That's the $1 million question. But just be careful. Look at what you're paying just now. How does a new deal compare to what you're paying just now? What are the terms and conditions in this new deal? Exit fees. What are they?
And it's good to know that the help is available from Home Energy Scotland or Citizens Advice. So anyone can pick up the phone, have a chat, and say this is my current situation. So just moving on from that, this is the one that I'm most curious about. So do you have any tips for people to help them make the most of their current energy within their house? So obviously I know we're getting into summer, so this would have probably had a better impact during the winter. But in terms of like, I hear stories about, you know, it's better to do your washing like before 7 o'clock in the morning or after 8 at night, all this kind of chat. So anything you can
Well,
give.
you know, if you're looking to save money on your energy costs, it is always possible. And I think it's more important now that people look at how they're actually using their energy around the home.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will be now.
Yeah. And so that you're not to limit the impact of any increase that's coming along, any price increase, and try to reduce your bill.
Yeah.
But there are some hints and tips. We've got loads of hints and tips that we can offer. And I'll actually just highlight a few of them. I've got little cards here actually.
Brilliant, yeah.
You give it for yourself. You've got if you, for example, were to turn your room thermostat down by 1 degree. So the satisfactory heating regime is anything from between 18 and 21 degrees. Right. If you find yourself having to put your room thermostat up higher than 21 degrees, it could highlight a point to your property not being as thermally efficient as it should be.
Right, okay.
So,
I was just thinking that I like to turn mine up to like 23, 24, but that will not be happening now.
Well, obviously, you would be looking at as your insulation measures in the property topped up. Draft proofing measures, because you want to try and keep that heat in the property for as long as possible. Insulation doesn't stop the loss of heat, it just slows down the rate at which it is lost. So, but if you find yourself turning it up higher than 21 degrees, obviously it's going to cost you more money. Just by turning your room thermostat down by 1 degree, so from 22 to 21 degrees, for example, you could save yourself £65 a year.
Wow. By 1 degree.
And you probably wouldn't even notice the difference.
You wouldn't.
The way that I say is that 21 degrees, if it was 21 degrees outside, it would be classed as a nice Scottish summer.
Be a lovely Scottish
So why is that not the case in your own home?
In your home, I know.
One reason is that it might be things like drafts, taking that hotter air away. And another thing is that if you sit for prolonged periods of time, your body temperature drops.
You're not moving.
So if you're sitting there in shorts and a t-shirt.
And another thing I noticed as well is like you can get a wee bit around the house, you can like leave room doors open and you're not like paying attention where really you should be like leaving one room, closing the door, going into the other room just to try and conserve the heat.
That's it.
So
close the doors, keep
get into those habits.
Keep the heat in the room. As I said, draft proofing, mentioned draft proofing there. Draft proofing is a simple measure to install, but it can be effective in retaining heat in your property. Installing simple draft proofing measures could save you about £30 a year on your energy costs. So between those two, you're not shy of £100. And as I said, you improve the overall feel of the room, and you probably wouldn't even notice the difference turning your room thermostat down.
Absolutely. So see the draft proofing. So is that is the same as that? You know, you get those window insulation kits on.
Well, you can.
Do they work this kind of same way?
You can get relatively inexpensive draft excluder strip.
Right.
You want to try and seal up any gaps in windows, doors,
door curtains.
I
had a door curtain, honestly, that was a lifesaver for me. It was brilliant, a door curtain.
Closing the curtains in the winter, during autumn, even during after dusk, get yourself a heavy set of curtains across your windows rather than just using blinds.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. It really does change the difference in having a closed curtain.
Makes a huge difference, another one is turning off appliances rather than leaving them on standby. So
I think that this one's interesting because I feel like a lot of people probably do leave things on standby, kettles, toasters, TVs, but how much of a difference does this make?
Well, we're talking about non-essential electrical items. You obviously need to keep your freezer, your fridge plugged in. You know, you might have Wi-Fi or a set-top box, and they tend to update software overnight. But anything else, try and switch them off completely, because the savings, if your electrical item is still plugged in, it is still using power. So the average saving there by just switching off non-essential electrical items is about £40 a year.
Wow.
But
and that's literally just from You know, leaving the house,
yeah.
make sure you switch the TV off at the wall.
Yep, that's
yeah,
correct.
Get into that habit.
So you can then start to build up a picture. You know, talking about turning your room thermostat down, look at draft proofing measures,
Yeah.
switch your non-essential electrical items off standby. You know, we're almost about £140 so far. Child's bedroom, on average, the cost of operating electrical appliances in a typical child's bedroom is about £65 a year. So that we're talking about things like the games consoles and things like that. And a lot of these games consoles are kept on constantly because they're downloading games overnight and things. So yeah, if you can try to switch them off standby, you should start to see.
That's great advice. Like you just don't think about these things. You really don't. Like when you're.
That's it. It's all about starting to take control. We might not have a great deal of influence on how much that energy's physically costing you coming into the home, unless you fix. But there's always something you can do to try and minimise that impact of those rises.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. It's about maybe people at the moment aren't feeling like they have a lot of control around this situation, but actually there are ways in which you can, and by following these, which I know that we're going to share when our podcast goes out, but things like this could make a massive difference.
You can do so, yeah. There's loads of hints and tips on Home Energy Scotland's website, Energy Saving Trust website, and I would ask, just say to folk, if you're looking for any other further information, you can give us a call, and I'll give you a telephone number. It's 0808 808 2282. Give us a call, speak to one of our advisors, or alternatively go onto our website, because there's loads of information out there.
Yeah, I'll definitely be heading on. Obviously I've got you here, but I'm curious to find out more what I can do to save money around the house.
I do have another one for you, and I don't want to start any arguments in any households tonight. And it's shower times.
Right, okay.
We advocate short shower times of 4 or 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
The reason we're saying that is because, and this is based on a family of 4, reducing their shower times by 1 minute. If they can reduce that shower time by 1 minute over the year, there's potentially a £20 saving. Now, that might not sound a lot.
But everything helps though.
However, if you've got someone in their household that's taking 10, 15, 20 minute showers, it's not unknown. I've heard that. Longer shower times, you can actually see that even reducing that by 5 minutes,
it's going to have a difference.
The saving can be quite substantial on showers alone. There you go, 5 minute reduction, you're looking at £100 saving there.
So for all those shower singers, karaoke's up now.
Well, that's a good point though. I mean, if you don't have, for example, a shower timer, and you can get shower timers,
put your favourite song on and just go in and like time yourself. Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good idea.
Showers actually, reducing shower times can significantly.
Again though, it's all things that you really don't think about, but then I suppose, all this information's on your website. I'm definitely going on, and I'm going to
because that's just
get myself into some good habits.
That's just a couple of
and that's nearly what
behavioural changes, and these behavioural changes don't necessarily impact your lifestyle. Don't change your lifestyle. They're just there. You know, if you want to save money, then you should try and adopt these changes.
Brilliant. Have you any more for us, or?
I mean, there's simple things like switching your lights off when you're not in the room. Common sense.
Aye. And what about rather than using like a big overhead lamps? Is there any difference to that, or does it?
There's LEDs. If you are still using the old halogen bulbs, for example, replacing that halogen bulb with an LED equivalent, the saving over the lifetime of that bulb is £100 approximately. Okay. You'll know it's a halogen bulb because if you try to change it, touch it, it might, it's hot to touch.
Oh, I remember the bulbs. There was me.
Now, they're still out there.
Are they? Are they still being sold, or just people still have them?
Still have them in the house, but just by replacing that one bulb, saving over the lifetime of the bulb's £100.
That's brilliant. And do LEDs I don't know if this is true or not, but they have quite a good lifespan, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
is it 20 odd years or something? Or is
Aye,
it
15, 20 year guarantees on the LEDs now, and they're relatively inexpensive to buy.
Yeah, that's good compared to those ones. I remember those ones sometimes they used to just like pop when they went.
Yeah.
Like I can remember that.
Like
My
that,
grand's like
the compact fluorescent tube.
right, aye, they ones.
Yeah, the ones that were curly. No. LEDs, they're really popular and common now. But if you are still using the older style bulbs, have a go at
Time to have a change because it will save you money in the long term. So brilliant. Thank you so much, Scott. So I suppose my next question is there any financial help available to people if they find that they are struggling with the price increases?
Yep. One of the if they contact a supplier or look on the supplier website, the supplier might offer what's called a warm homes discount.
Right.
A warm homes discount is a payment that's credited to the energy account. It's £140.
Okay.
It is going to increase to £150 come October. If there's two groups of people that qualify for a warm homes discount, there's a core group. So if someone's in receipt of pension credit guarantee, they should get that paid to them automatically if the supplier offers a warm homes discount. The second group is called the broader group, and each of the suppliers have a different set of eligibility criteria for that.
Oh, right, okay, so it's not like completely across the board?
No, there's eligibility to it, but it's always worth checking with the supplier. It's generally done on a first come first served basis, and basically once that fund of money is used up, they could shut the scheme at any time.
I see.
So even if you were potentially eligible for it,
if you haven't got it quick enough, you've missed it. So when would people be looking to do that then? When does that
check
start?
your supplier and to find out when the scheme opens for applications.
Right.
Generally find come August, September time.
Okay.
That's
a good one to know.
That's when suppliers will start to look at opening their schemes for applications, but check with your supplier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find out if they offer the warm homes discount.
And that would be good for a lot of people if they.
Also as well, there's the Warmer Homes Scotland programme. The Warmer Homes Scotland programme is it's a Scottish Government programme which offers funding and support to households who are struggling to stay warm and keep on top of their energy bills. It's designed to help people make their homes warmer, more comfortable by installing a range of energy saving improvements.
Right.
Again, there is eligibility to it, but if you are eligible, the potential improvements could be, insulation measures, wall insulation, loft insulation, draft proofing, central heating system,
right.
Renewable technologies. But it's accessed by contacting ourselves at Home Energy Scotland. So if they give us a call, our advisors can assess to see if they're potentially eligible for Warmer Homes Scotland. It's for homeowners and tenants of private sector landlords.
Right, okay.
Who are struggling to heat their homes, who've lived in the property for 12 months or more.
Okay. Well, that's a good one to know.
And meet certain eligibility criteria. But again, similar to the Warm Homes discount scheme, it's always worth giving us a call and see if there's anything that we can help with. Like I mentioned as well previously, if you look at your insulation measures, top your insulation measures, improve your draft proofing, you're trying to keep the heat in for as long as possible, because it means you're not putting your heating on as often and for as long.
Because you're like, oh no, there's a chill in there, whereas like, if you can keep it in, that's a good shout. And I suppose a lot of people might be a bit worried about contacting their supplier about, if they were struggling. Should they be worried, or can the supplier, what can they do? Do you know what I mean, to help someone that was maybe struggling?
Well, in the first instance, it would be to contact your supplier to see what support they can offer. Some of the suppliers have their own funds.
Right.
British Gas, Scottish Power. But again, that's something that if they contact an impartial organisation, for example Citizens Advice, or they give us a call, the other advisors would identify and see if there's anything that we can signpost them to. Incidentally, we do have also energy carers who can offer a form of hand-holding service for more vulnerable customers. So if someone is having issue with, for example, fuel debt, they might be reluctant to contact the supplier themselves, maybe not confident to do that, or maybe they're looking for some assistance in actually trying to get a resolution to that. Well, energy carers can potentially help with that.
That's really good, because I think a lot of people, you know, if they are struggling, it is a difficult situation, and then to actually get the confidence to call up and say like, this is my situation, you know, so that's really good that you offer that service. So if anyone is looking for it, you can find it on Home Energy Scotland's website, or give them a call. And let's see if I've got any other questions. No, I don't think I do. But yeah, so Scott, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you so much for coming along to our very first podcast. The information you've given us is fantastic, and it will definitely help a lot of our members.
Well, what I would say is, if anyone's struggling, the thing not to do is to sit back and do nothing about it. There's always something you can do. You can take action yourself by looking at how you're using your energy around the home. Look at if there's any ways of maximising income. So it might be through the Warm Homes discount scheme. You're going to get the £200 one-off repayable discount in October. But look at other ways that there's help available there. Don't sit back, don't do nothing. Contact ourselves at Home Energy Scotland. See if we can help you directly, or signpost you to an organisation. Good. Get in touch with Citizens Advice as well, because they're a great service that can offer
fantastic service. And be proactive as well, and getting into the habits. For me, that's what I'm going to take from this. There are things that I know I'm not doing around the house that I should be doing, so just like, you know, taking some of the information you've given us today, and reducing my thermostat for one, because I'm usually going, I'm a cold person, but yeah, turning that down, because that's going to make a massive difference for me.
What a great help as well is if you have a smart meter. I don't know if you've got a smart meter.
I don't know.
No.
Would you recommend people?
Well, smart meters, I got one. I originally, in my
do I really want to see what I'm using? You know, that way, like the hairdryer's on, who's using the hairdryer?
Well, I mean, I was explaining before we started speaking today, I was telling about I had prepayment meters in my property, my flat. I got that changed over to a smart meter. And the smart meter, I like the smart meter because it allows me to see almost in real time how much energy it's costing me. And it allows me to see what actions are costing me the most. I can look through and see, you know, why is there a spike there? Why is that cost me? Why is my cost?
What were you doing at that moment in time when that electricity was running?
But the smart meters are great. Again, you can contact your supplier to see if you can get a smart meter installed. And it's just a way of highlighting almost in real time how much that energy is costing you. And if you can see that maybe it is, your costs are going up, it'll allow you to take that action to try and reduce it.
Again, it's like that idea that I spoke about earlier on, is this idea of people not having that control with things, you know, prices increasing, whereas actually there are small ways that you can take back that control and to make a difference to your bills.
You hit it there, taking control, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thanks for coming on today.